I mean, I think that the doctor-patient relationship should be as open, as honest as possible, and it allows the patients to have a better conversation with their doctor on what the next steps might be. There are constituents of mine from each of the panels that were there to speak about it, but I've taken some time over the last couple of years to learn a little bit more about this just for that reason in itself, because we have a lot of people that are outdoors, we have a lot of people that are hunting, playing golf, doing other types of activities outside, and we need to make sure that they're aware of these types of things. They talk about the bullseye, but not every tick provides that, or in some places you can't see the bullseye as well as others. So we have to know that when you go in for testing or you go in for these types of symptoms, that if you have this type of test, you have to ask the question again. And I think that's the best message to give out to the people on the Eastern Shore, is to always question the results of these tests. And again, we talked about the treatment. I think a fairly simple supply of 28 days of antibiotics. I would much rather go through that type of treatment and be safe than to not do that and be sorry later on. It's an interesting story. About 3 years ago, one of my dogs had gotten in a fight with a raccoon, and the raccoon ended up dying, and the dog had obviously saliva all over his mouth, and we had pulled the dog back from the fight. We got notice from the animal control that the raccoon was rabid, and they said, "Did you touch any of the dog's saliva at all?" Because the saliva could have come from the raccoon, and you know, it was, and so we weren't certain about it, and the advice that we got from the doctor was, listen, if you get treated for rabies, it's 100% preventable. If you don't get treated for rabies and you have it, it's 100% fatal. And I think that type of situation made it very simple, even though it was a number of shots that I had to get, to be able to say, I'd rather go through that treatment than to take that chance of not knowing whether or not the saliva came in contact with my skin or not. I think I've heard enough cases from people that came in today to say that the patient should make sure that they're aware of it. Too many cases I know that they try to say could be something else, or it might not be Lyme, but the symptoms all seem to be the same. And when you're going through those types of symptoms and you're in a position where you don't know what might be causing them, I think it's important to say that, you know, Lyme presents these types of symptoms, and we should look back to see if that could be the potential cause of it. I have had constituents ask me about it. I try to play a little golf in the summertime when we're not down here, and guys at the golf course, the clubhouse, will always be talking about it because they're very aware of it. They know to come back when they're in the clubhouse and take a look at their body, check for ticks, and that's one of the questions that comes out. And like I said, through going through this legislation and this topic over the last few years, I've been able to try to educate them on this as well too.